Good afternoon, everyone. And in this session, I want to talk about SAP Business One process for. So that is what we will be discussing. So how SAP Business One MRP process works. So in this session, we'll talk some of the configuration prerequisites which is required. We'll talk about scenario number one, where we do MRP for buy item for purchase order scenario. So the item which we're going to purchase. In second scenario, MRP for manufactured item. So how can we create an MRP for manufactured item? So we will do that as well. Then we're going to do another scenario in which we're going to do MRP FG12 for when you have a sales demand, you have a sales order, make to order scenario. So this is more of a make to order scenario. So we get an order and then we are doing manufacturing. Then we want to run MRP for based upon forecast. For example, make to stock scenario. So these are the four scenario which we're going to discuss in this session today. So first and foremost, some simple configuration which is required. And one of them is in general setting. If you go to general setting, if you go to in system is initialization. So here we have a planning. In the planning, there's a consume forecast, means if you have forecast, you consume it. There's a backward scheduling and how many days it goes backward and how many days it goes forward in case of backward and forward planning. So that should be there. And so now it's a simple configuration. So now we go to our scenario number one, which is running the MRP for buy item for purchase order item. So let's look at that. We go to MRP, we go to MRP wizard, and in the MRP wizard, we have a four scenario: scenario one, scenario two, scenario three, scenario four. We'll go through all these four scenarios in this session. That's what we're going to do. So scenario number one, running MRP for purchase items. We go to next. When we go to next, then there is a start date and end date for the planning horizon. So we put end of year, and we should include holidays, and we sort by the items. We're running MRP by the item number. Then which item we want to include. So in this scenario, we have already included an item FG01. We can add any items. If you want to add any item, you can add, you can remove. And if you go to FG01, if I click on this yellow bar, then this is the item. Now, some of this data which you maintain here is important. So the first and foremost is planning data. In that, planning method should be applied as MRP. Procurement method should be buy because it's a purchase item. And if you want to apply some kind of planning method, etc., we can like minimum order quantity, lead time, tolerance, etc. That also we can assign if we want to assign. So we have a inventory. In the inventory data, we have a so in this scenario, there is a manage inventory by warehouse. So we want to manage by warehouse, or we want to make it company wide. So we say we want to make it company wide, and so we can do that as well. So in this scenario, we have a quantity required is 900, minimum required is 1000, minimum is 900, and maximum is 1500. In stock, we have a 50 pieces. Ordered already 100. That basically means 150 pieces already available with us. Okay, we go back. Then we go to next. Then we go to next. Now here in source of demand and supply, we can say we want to include purchase orders in the planning. We want to include purchase agreements. We want to include our sales orders. We want to include our sales agreement. And we want to include our production order. And in the recommendation, we want to recommend purchase order and production order. So that is what these two things we can recommend as a part of it. Then we go to next, which is the run. And when we run, then system automatically for this item on this date, system tells me that I have a 50 pieces. So if you see here, so we already saw 50 pieces, we already have 100 pieces. We have a order. So we have a supply of 150 already with us. So this is what system, and that is based upon, and from where this 150 is coming. So if I go back to the material again, so the material, we have a stock of 50, we have order of 100. So 150 already there. So that is how system calculating this 150. So that is how system 150 calculate. And then if I go to material again, we have here 900 pieces. We require 900, 150, what available is 150. So my recommendation, if I go back here, is 750. So 900 minus 150, my recommendation become 750. So then I can save a recommendation here in the bottom. And do you want to save? Say yes. And we can finish. So we're done with it. If you go to order recommendation, if we select the scenario, if you hit enter, and you have a purchase order, and the purchase order is for 750 pieces, and then you can convert this purchase order from here to a vendor you want. So if you scroll down on the right hand side, so we can enter vendor code also. This is my vendor code. It's a vendor update. One purchase order created. Hit OK. Hit OK. And then if I go back to purchase order, and then we can see the purchase order for FG01 has been created. Quantity 750. So why 750? Again, we had a requirement for 900. I have available 750. So net become 900 minus 150. That is a one scenario. Now I want to go back and look at the second scenario, that is for the manufactured item. Item number FG10. So if this item is a manufactured item, then how does the MRP run for it? Okay. So we go to MRP visit, and here we have a second scenario that is called MRP for production item. We go to next option, start date, end date, include production order, purchase item. Next item is FG10. So this is the item. If I select this item's attribute, this item has a bill of material also. If I go to this item, if I go to planning data here. So this is a make item. So planning method should be MRP. Procurement method should be make from the BOM material. So we have a bill of material also. Our lead time is 2 days. It takes 2 days to manufacture this item. If you go to production data, you can put in a issue method. You want to do back order scheduling or manual or backflush. So we say backflush. And here we have a BOM also. It's a manufactured item. There's a BOM as well. And then if you go to inventory data here, we require 90 pieces. So required quantity 100, minimum 90, maximum 150. And here in stock, we have nothing, ordered nothing. So we close this button, we close that, we come back to our MRP wizard. This is the item we are running MRP for. We can add, remove item from here. We can go to next. Then we can go to next. So we can include purchase order. We can include purchase agreement. We can include sales order. We can include sales agreements. We can include production order. And here, do we want to create a purchase requisition or we want to create a production order? And then we say hit run. When we hit run here, then MRP ran. Now, system suggests on this date so and so, there is a 90 pieces. Okay, 90 pieces. Why 90 pieces? Because if you go to FG10 here, and here I have in my inventory data, I have a requirement of 90 pieces. Based upon the 90 pieces, system select this 90 pieces. So that is where we have a quantity 90. If I go to recommendation, so here in the recommendation, this is the production order, this is the item, quantity 90. And if you want to save recommendation, we can save recommendation and we can finish. And after that, if you go to order recommendation, I can see the scenario. And this is MRP production scenario. Hit OK. Then system tells me that I have a production order. And this is the production order, quantity 90. And from here, if I want to create, this is the release date. This is the due date. We got 2 days lead time. And I can update. And see that here, one new production order was created. So in this case, we create a new production order, hit enter, we hit OK, hit OK. Now, if I go to production order here, this is the production order which has been created. Item FG10, quantity 90, and it is order creation date this, start date this, due date is this. So system automatically created a production order. So that is what this basically means. That was our second scenario. Now we want to do a third scenario. In that third scenario, we want to have a sales or production order for a make to order scenario. So let's say for this item FG10, I also want to have a sales order. So we go back. So if I go to SAP, so this is the item, we check again. So item is FG12. And here we go to inventory. And this is item FG12. And if you go to FG12, this is the item. And again, I go to inventory data. My requirement is 100 pieces. In stock, we have nothing. Ordered, nothing. So there is no open order for this. So let us say for this item, we get an order. So I create a sales order. So let's say for this item, for any of our customer. So this is my selecting any customer. And for this customer, I put some date. And for this item, I get an order. And let us say we get an order for 250 pieces of whatever. We get a new sales order. System doing ATP check. ATP check coming because system tell us that for this item, we need to do ATP check, availability promise check. And because we don't have any stock, so available quantity 0. So nothing is available at this moment. That is the meaning of it. We hit enter. We save it. So we got a sales order saved. So this is sales order number for the 250 pieces. If I again go back to my inventory item, FIG12, and here, go to this item, inventory data. Now, if you see that I have a committed 250 because I have a sales order. So now we have a demand of 250 pieces. So we close it. We close it. Now we go to production. Now if you go to MRP and we go to MRP wizard and then we hit enter. So now we want to select the third scenario, which is the MRP based upon sales order. So we got a sales demand, and based upon that sales demand, we want to create a sales order. That is what we wanted to. That is what we wanted to do the scenario. Select item FG12. We have already seen it. We can add delete item here. Next. Then data sources, we including inventory, we including demand, we including supply. Next. And then we want to do recommendation or purchase order, production order. And then we say run. Now, when we say run, then here system gives me there's a demand of 250. And then there's a minimum requirement of 100 pieces. So if I go to recommendation here, first and foremost, then in the recommendation, system tells me that you need to create a production order of 350. Why 350? So 350 is coming because for this material, if I go and check this material, I have a sales order of 250 and a minimum requirement of 100. So 250 plus 100 system suggests 350. So that is why in the recommendation for this production order, quantity 350 has been recommended. If I go to order, I can see 350. These are the different dates where we need 350. And we say save recommendation. We hit finish button. After that, if I go to order recommendation and we go to MRP on sales demand, we hit OK. This is the production order for 350 pieces. We select that. We update one production order created. Hit OK. Hit OK. If I go back and check my production order, and this is my production order. So here I have a production order for 350 pieces. So that is the quantity 350 pieces. Okay. That is what we have it here in the system. So this was our third scenario. Now we want to go to fourth and the last scenario, that is based upon forecast, which is called make to stock. So we don't have a specific sales order, but we have a sales forecast, and based upon the forecast, we wanted to do the MRP run. So how can we do that? Okay. So that is what we're going to talk about, forecast for make to stock, item FG13. So now, first and foremost, we go back to the forecast. So we go to the MRP, we go to forecast, and we select. So there is one forecast. Now in this forecast, what system says from this date to this date, for this item, my forecast is 100 pieces, 100 pieces, 100 pieces, 100 pieces. So every month I'm going to need 100 pieces of this item. That is what this basically means. 100 pieces of this item. Okay. So that is what we are mentioning and we are talking about. Okay. So now, and here in the bottom, there is a generate with forecast also. That basically means system can generate the forecast for you, or you can manually maintain a forecast as well. So this is the forecast for 100 pieces. Now we want to run MRP based upon forecast for this item. So we go to MRP wizard, we go to next. Now this is the fourth scenario and the last scenario. In this fourth scenario, this is forecast based upon MRP. We go back. This is the same screen, nothing different. This is item FG13, which have included. We can include any item, one multiple items. So we are running MRP for this item based upon forecast. Then we go to next. We select our existing sources, the existing demand, including supply. And then the one thing is here we can include our forecast. See, there is a forecast. So this forecast, we are including our MRP. So here, forecast get assigned to our MRP. Then we hit run. And then when you hit run, that is what system does. Then system says that, okay, so FG31, and if I go to recommendation, now in the recommendation, what system does? So it does 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It created 6 production order, one for every month, for next 6 months, starting from July. The first month is 99 because I have a one piece available, and then 100, 100, 100, 100, 100. If I go to this material, why is there 99 here? Why not 100? Is because if I go back to this inventory of this item, in the inventory data, I have a stock of one piece. I need 100, but I have already have 100 pieces, but the rest of month I need 99, 100, 100, 100. Then I can save recommendation, and then I finish, and then I'm done. If I want to see order recommendation, I can check order recommendation also based upon forecast. And here in the recommendation system suggests me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sales of production order, and I can create all these production orders. So that is what we look at MRP. We run MRP in 4 different scenarios. The first scenario was for the purchase item. Second scenario was for manufactured item with no sales demand and forecast. Third was also for production scenario, but made to order. And then fourth one was MRP based on forecast, which is made to stock scenario. So we have done 4 different scenarios. So with that, thank you very much. Thank you for watching.